expectation maximization for image segmentation. So Rahul, will you tell? Yeah, tell some of you. So Vamsi, can you tell?
Yes, sir. From the image, we can take the whole pixels as our data points. I want to segment it into background or foreground. Then we'll initially we'll fix with some mean and variance for that. Two classes for foreground and background. Then we will classify our pixels based on Bayesian ML estimation, maximum likelihood. Then we will classify those pixels into either foreground or background based on our probability densities. Later, we will maximize those mean and variance using ML estimation.
Okay.
And we will iterate this process. Finally, we refine those mu and variance.
Right.
And we will classify our whole data points, which are pixels, into foreground and background.
Right. So one time we apply ML classification, another time we apply ML estimation. That's all. ML classification is for with the given current mean and variances. How do we do classification of all the remaining pixels into foreground and background category? In second pass, what we are doing is given the pixels into classes, how do we find optimal mean and variances? So that is ML estimation. Okay. So for mean and variance, parameter estimation for mean and variances. And the while doing this, you can directly take pixels as the features, or you can extract at each pixel better and better features. Not necessarily just the pixels. You can take a patch around the pixel and use it as the say, from that you can even extract HOG as the feature for that pixel. So around that pixel, or you can extract any other local binary patterns, or you can extract textual features, any features, Gabor features, any features you can extract around that to classify background and foreground. Color features, any feature you can extract. So in place of the pixels. And you will do two class classification is of importance. You do two class classification. If more class classification need to be done, we will do more class classification. Right? Okay. So if please ask if you have now any other doubts on k-means clustering and expectation maximization, since a few others have joined. If you don't ask any questions, I will move on to the discussion on the next topic, that is final topic on hierarchical clustering, agglomerative clustering. Okay, so fine. We will continue the discussion then. So I'm sharing the screen. Okay. So remind me at the end of the class. Now I will discuss anyway hierarchical clustering. At the end of the class, I will discuss one thing called isodata clustering. So that uses k-means as the background and does a little bit of say it also does clustering for multi-class. Say even if we don't know a priori the number of classes, we will be able to do clustering with k-means as the background, like base clustering algorithm. Okay, fine. So yesterday or the last class, we discussed on how to form a dendrogram based on a dissimilarity matrix, and then use the break the dendrogram to form different kind of clusters, right? So now based on similarity also we can do that. So I asked this to be done by you. So any of you have attempted? No or yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I will quickly, so probably I will quickly do just to give a summary for the last class. Okay, so now based on say the similarity matrix, I would like to do clustering. To which of the two should I cluster first? These are all data points or samples. Okay, samples are nothing but data points. So now these samples may have their features. Okay, based on their features, this is the distance between features of sample x1 and x1 and x2 and x2. It is in fact the similarity between features of x1, 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 x2 and so on. Okay, so now which data points or which sample should I first cluster based on the similarity metric? So which one should I cluster?
4 and 5 first.
Yeah, 4 and 5 should be clustered first. Okay, with how much similarity they are clustered? 0.98. We should write that here. Okay, please note that even writing and all this, say you can't join as you want. Okay, so and the numbers are to be written very clearly so that we know with what value of similarity they are clustered. Okay, and then next, what should I cluster? Any other student? Abhijit?
3 and 4.
3 and 4 I should cluster. Okay, so this is fine. 3 and 4 I should cluster. With how much value? 0.96. 96, correct. 0.96, right. So then what is the next? So who will tell? Sai Pavan.
3 and 5.
Huh?
3 and 5.
3 and 5 should I cluster? Okay. So 3 and 5 already clustered. So 3 and 4 when we cluster, 4 and 5 are already clustered. So 3 and 5 is also clustered. Okay, so no need to do it again. Okay, then what next? What is next then?
1 and 2.
Huh?
1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Okay. We will cluster 1 and 2. So how much distance?
0.7.
Yeah, 0.7. Okay. So 0.75, right?
Yes.
So it is here. So scale also has to be to the scale. Okay, you can't put 0.75 here. Okay, 0.75. Okay, and then what is next? This cluster has to be clustered with this cluster, but with how much value of similarity should I cluster? No, how much? So 0.44, is it fine? 0.4, sorry,
0.44.
0.44, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with 0.44, this is x1, x2, and this is clustered with this x3. So it is 0.44. Okay, so this is so in fact this is not. Okay, this is 0 and this is 0.44. So there will be same. Sorry, this is 1, this is 0, and this is 1. Okay, this is 0.44. Okay, this is how we form the dendrogram. Now with this, if I want to do 3 clusters, if I want to get 3 clusters, where do I get 3 clusters? Where should I break? I should break. What are the 3 clusters I will get? See, for example, C1, C2, and C3. Okay, 3 clusters if I want to get. What are they?
X1, X2.
X1, X2 will come as single cluster if I want to get 3 clusters. Where should I break the dendrogram?
X1.
Yeah.
One cluster would be X1,
Yeah.
another cluster would be X2, and another cluster would be X3, X4, and X5.
Yeah, right. So X2 and X3, X4, and X5. Okay, this is how I do get the 3 clusters for 3 clusters. Okay, if I want to get 2 clusters, then I can break it here. So I will get X1, X2, 1 cluster, X1, X3, X4, X5, another cluster, right? Okay, so I think it's okay. Okay, so now this is fine, but what do you think is the limitation of this? The limitation of this is, see, initially you have only samples. So when you have only samples or data points, clustering 2 together and then is fine. But once you have a cluster C1 and you have another cluster C2, okay, then if I want to find out the next join, like which next next cluster, so I should find the especially distance between clusters. I should define a proper distance between clusters. What I'm trying to say is, say already assume that say C1 is initially, so in initial times X4, X5 is clustered. Okay, it's already clustered. Okay, now the other samples I have is X3, okay, X1 and X2. So assume that each of them is one cluster. So what I have to do is, this is C2. Okay, assume that say already also I have in some sense X1, X2 being clustered. Okay, not in this case, but assume that these also have a separate cluster, X4, X5. Now in this case, if I want to cluster next, so which two should be combined? C1, C2 should be combined, C2, C3 has to be combined, or C1, C2 has to be combined. C3, C1 has to be combined. This, why for finding such things, I need to define a metric on the clusters rather than on the samples. Whatever we are using, the distance metric or the similarity metric is on the samples or the data points, but they are not on the clusters. So the methods, hierarchical clustering methods, especially first define the metric on the clusters and use it for clustering. Okay, so we will try to define a metric on the clusters. Okay, is this understood what I am trying to discuss now? So I want to define distance between C1, one cluster, and C2. C1 may have any number of elements in it, that means any number of members in it, and C2 also may have more number of members in it, maybe one member or more members. Okay, similarly C1 also one member or more members. I want to define a distance between two clusters now, two sets now, okay, rather than two elements. Okay, so what do you think in general? Can you suggest some way of defining intuitively? Some way of defining the distance between two clusters? Yeah, can one of you suggest any guess on how do we define some
Distance
metric?
between their means.
Yeah, good. So what I can do is, one way of defining is, so I will keep writing the distances. So M1 minus M2. Okay. So M1 is the distance between, say, M1 is the mean of C1, and say here M1 is, okay, mean of C1. Okay. And M2 is mean of C2. Okay, this is one way of defining. So then in such case, I will call this as D mean. Okay, so now is this the only way, or are there any other ways I can define distance between two clusters C1 and C2? I hope you understand, right, what I am discussing now. If it is not clear, please ask now. Yeah, if it is clear, please tell a few more suggestions. Any other student?
Maybe covariance.
Maybe covariance? Tell clearly.
Covariance between M1 and M2.
Okay, but covariance between M1 and M2, will they give the distance? Is the covariance good measure?
It will give similarity, like on the scale of 0 to 1. It will give similarity on scale of 0 to 1.
No, covariance, what does it give? Covariance just gives actually how the elements within the cluster are distributed. It doesn't tell anything. So if some samples are distributed like this in C1, okay, and C2, if the samples are distributed something like this, okay, then it says that covariance of C2 is higher, C1 is smaller. So these samples may be here, or these may be here, or somewhere else. We don't know. It doesn't give the distance. Covariance gives in some sense the variability within the cluster. You can use the covariance to define a better distance, but covariance doesn't give a distance alone. Covariance alone doesn't give distance. Yeah, any other suggestion? Any simple suggestions? few more. I'm surprised to see that no more suggestions are coming.
L1 norm
L1 norm of what and what?
of M1 and N2.
Okay, but you can find different norms. That's anyway almost assumed trivial. So because we are anyway between two means you are considering, but why you want to only pick up, say now the question is this. So if I have a data set like this, okay, like this and like this is C1 and this is C2. Okay, in what way I can define the distance between C1 and C2? That is the question I have now. Is sharing still there or it has gone?
So it's there.
Yeah, good. So this is now C1 and this is C2. In what way I can define the distance between them? Also, I can have C1, C2 in different ways. For example, this may be, say, this may be C1. Okay, and this may be C2. This may be C2. Okay, so this is C1 and this is C2. So it can be there in different ways. In fact, C3 may be there. I will just draw C3 in some sense. This is C3. Okay, so this is in several ways. C1, C2, C3 may be there. So single distance metric between clusters may not be optimal or very good in all these situations. That is why we are defining different distance metrics on the clusters.
Sir, can we like consider the distance on some projected length?
Yeah, why here we don't want to do projection. So we directly want to do on the samples. But sample can be, see, not necessarily the mean sample, but any sample I can use in this set.
As last class we discussed X minus Y transpose sigma inverse X minus Y.
Yeah, that can be done. But actually, what is X and what is Y here? M1, M2 you want to keep, and then mean what? So you are all thinking on mean and covariances. You are not coming down to sample level. Say, assume that if I want to define a good metric between this cluster, C1, say for example, if I define this as C2 and this as C1 and this as C3, for example. Okay, now if I want to define a good metric between C1 and C2, what do you think is a good metric? Means anyway fine, other than means.
Distance between medians.
Okay, again median. So not anything on sample base. So I will also give few more things.
Like support vector machines, the distance between the points that are far away from centers, between those two.
Okay, one way is find the distance between farthest points. Okay, so that is one way of doing. So for example, what I do is, so let X be a sample from belongs to C1, Y be a sample belongs to C2. Okay, I define the distance as C1 minus C2, where X belongs to C1, okay, and Y belongs to C2, and this is maximum, okay, distance. That means maximum possible distance between, say, the samples which are farthest from C1 to C2. Okay, that I consider for defining the distance. Can't I do that to define some metric of distance between two clusters? Yes or no? Okay, in some case, assume that this is the scenario.
So can we use like our FLD, reducing interclass?
No, this is not purely like FLD, but this is just giving another flavor of defining distances. See, you said farthest points. If I consider now, this is the one farthest point. Okay, so this is the farthest point, and this is the farthest point probably here, and this is the farthest point here. So in some sense, I can separate the clusters based on this. So I can decide which cluster to merge first. So that means farthest point itself is closer, then I will merge it. Okay, so like that, since distance metric is what is distance between farthest points, right? So then I will merge the ones with minimum distance anyway finally. So I will merge the clusters if their distance is with the farthest point is closer. So I will merge these two. Say for example, if I will just to put a thing more like explicit, I will erase few things here. Okay. So, and then I will put a, probably I will put another real sample. So, okay, let it be even here it can go, right? So even it can go here also. Oh, this is also sample from this. So this is more farther than this, assume that. Okay, in that case, I will better link this rather than linking this cluster. Or we can probably show here. Okay, so in that case, now what are all the farthest points? This is the farthest point here. This is the farthest point here. Now, what is my question? To this cluster C1, should I merge this cluster with C3 or C2? That is my question. So if I see the nearest points, I should merge it with C2. But if I see the farthest points, I should merge it with C1, C3. Are you understanding or not? Okay. The cluster can be merged based on the mean, like closeness of the means, or closeness of the closest points, or closeness of the farthest points. So to decide based on what we merge them, the method will be different. Okay. So and the distance metric we define is which we would like to consider. So this distance metric is D max. That means you consider the maximum distance between X and Y such that X belongs to C1, Y belongs to C2. And then you will merge the ones which will have, say if I have 3 clusters, C1, C2, C3, I will better merge C1, C2 if the D max is smaller for C1, C2 than C1, C3 or C2, C3. You understand? Is it understood or not? That, see, for example, I will also define D min. What is the other metric that I can define now? D min, C1 comma C2, and how do I define it? Minimum X and Y, where X belongs to C1 and Y belongs to C2. Is this understood or not?
Sir,
yeah.
These are the corresponding farthest points and closest points, sir.
Right. These are the corresponding farthest points and these are the corresponding closest points between two clusters. Based on that, I am defining the distance metric. So now if I consider farthest point, this is the distance metric. I will merge this with C1 is merged with, say in this example, farthest point if I consider, okay, between between C1, C2, C3, I merge C1 with C3. Okay. Whereas if closest point is considered, I will merge C1 with C2. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if to write, so I will write here. I will probably erase this and write here. With D max, okay, C1 and C3 are merged first. While I hope this is understood, right? D min, C1 and C2 are merged. Okay. So now whatever may be the distance measure, okay, what is the decision rule? How do I merge this? For example, merge Ci and Cj if distance of Ci comma Cj is less than or equal to distance of Ci comma Ck for all k not equal to 0. Okay, or yeah, even otherwise also, right? So now what I'm doing, merge Ci, I will write Ci with Cj I will write. Okay, Ci is the cluster we would like to see to merge with some of the cluster. Okay, which cluster should I merge? if I merge with CJ, I will merge with CJ in case if its distance is lesser than any other. But this distance may be defined in different ways. In some sense, I may define it as Dmin. In some other example, I may define it as Cmax, Dmax. Okay, and some other example, I may define it as Cmean. Okay, I can also define C average, the D average. D average means I take all distances x and y, and I take the minimum, say average of all of them. Say just to give D average C1 comma C2 is equal to 1 by, say for example, 1 by n1 and 2 x minus y whole square, where x belongs to C1 and y belongs to C2. Is this understood what I have written here for average? And then summation over x comma y, a double summation. Okay, so since I have written, it is all combinations of samples in C1 and samples in C2. Okay, and their distances, averaging them, we get the D average. Okay, distance of all possible combinations of C1 and C2 samples. Is this fine or not? Okay, so let us see an example. Hopefully with that, things will be clear.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please ask.
Sir, but this the condition that we have defined, merging Ci with Cj, this will largely depend upon the initial point which we choose, right? The CK point for which we have defined the metric. So if it depends on that, then the clusters would differ.
No. How does this depend upon the initial point? So you mean to say initial cluster, it depends upon?
The first point, like the for Dmax and Dmin. Dmax and Dmin will be corresponding to the maximum distance between all the clusters, right?
Yeah,
in all the points.
See,
okay.
I consider all the points. Say C1 have all the, I need to check all possible points in C1 versus C2. Okay, all combination, among all combination, which is the minimum. That's why, see, visually looking, you are able to see very easily. This is the, say, Dmax. Okay, but in general, if you want to compute, you have to compute between, say, if it has 8 points and if it has 3 points, 24 computations you have to do explicitly if you want to do. And among this 24, whichever is the highest, that is Dmax.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. But since we can easily guess in many of the cases, we need not do that much computations. Okay?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah. So let us take an example so that the things will be clear. Okay, say to give the algorithmic names. So the algorithm which uses Dmin for clustering is referred to as nearest neighbor algorithm or single link algorithm. Okay, so single link algorithm is or nearest neighbor clustering algorithm. This is not nearest neighbor classifier, this is nearest neighbor clustering. Okay, you just Dmin. Okay, to cluster. While the other algorithm that is called as complete link, farthest neighbor cluster. Dmax. Okay. See, later once, anyway, I will do a small example now. After that, you can see that the clustering that is done by single link or nearest neighbor clustering forms different kind of clusters, whereas the complete link and farthest neighbor cluster forms different kind of clusters. Altogether, they form different kind of clusters. One will form compact clusters, one will form elongated clusters. So that you can see when I discuss an example. Okay, let us have an example here. See, this example is, I'm drawing the samples here, and distance between the samples can be easily seen here. So x1, x2, x3, these are all samples, and distance between them is 1, 1.1, 1.2. Okay, this is the distance between samples. X4, okay, so 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Okay, I have 7 samples. Distance between, now if I ask between X3 and X1, it is 2.1. Okay, sum of this. Oh, if I ask distance between X1 and X7, then it will become sum of all this. Okay, that is 7.5. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is a graph showing the sample locations and the distances between them. Okay, in this way also we can show the samples. Now what I wish to do is I want to cluster these samples. So first I want to use single link algorithm or nearest neighbor algorithm. Okay, so using this I want to cluster the samples. So let the samples be X1, X2, X3, X4, X5, X6 and X7. Okay, so now which one should I cluster first? See, now before starting, all are the individual C1, C2, I don't have clusters. So each sample is a cluster. So all our individual samples are, each forms the one set of the cluster. Okay, so this is referred to as agglomerative clustering because you start from single element in a set and you keep adding the cluster members. Okay, and form finally the full all samples into one cluster. This kind of clustering, hierarchical clustering, is referred to as agglomerative clustering. Right. So now which one should I first cluster? Can some of you tell quickly?
X1, X2.
Yeah, X1, X2, it is trivial because this distance is only one. Okay, smallest distance. These are all distances here. Okay, these are all distances. I hope this is clear, right? Yeah. Okay, next which one should I cluster? Next, say for example, now what do I have? I will write it here. I think I have used lot space to write these things, but I will write here. C1 is now, okay, is X1 comma X2. Okay, so now if I want to find d min, okay, what I have to find? D min of, say, what I have to find is d min of C1 comma X3 I have to find. Okay, similarly, d min of, say, when there is no sets, so X3 and X4 I can find. Okay, and then and so on. I will find all, I need to find in fact all combinations, and I need to see minimum d min, and that I have to use in clustering now. So d min of C1 comma X3 is how much? C1 comma X3 is how much? D min. That means I have to find the minimum distance with X3 to X2 and X3 to X1. Which is the minimum distance? Tell quickly those who
X2 to X3.
Huh? It is
1.1.
Yeah, 1.1. Okay, and d min of X3 and X4. How much is X3 and X4? 1.2. When there is only single set, d min, d max, all will be same. Okay, single sets. Yeah. So now similarly, I can write others. But what should I cluster now next? What comes to the next cluster?
X3 and
yeah,
X2.
X3 and X2 will come. Okay. So this is again with 1.1. So I need not in fact keep this much, but okay, X3 and X 1.1. Okay. So now what next will come? So now what I need to do? I have now this is all a single cluster. So I have C1 now. Now after this change, C1 now is equal to X1, X2 and X3. Okay, and C2 now is equal to what? C2 now can be either X4 or anything. Okay, and then C4, C5 all I have actually. I will write here. So now what I have to find? D min of. Okay, D min of C1 comma C2 I have to find, and then C2 comma C3 and so on I have to find. And considering that, which one do you think will get clustered now?
X4.
Yeah, X4 only get clustered. Okay, this is in some sense a trivial example, but simple example. Okay, then 1.2. Then what do you think will be the, this all becomes now a single cluster. So what will be next get clustered?
X5.
X5.
Yeah, X5 will get clustered. Okay, so now this is clustered with what distance? 1.3. Okay, then now then X3 get clustered 1.4, and then this get clustered with 1.5. Okay, this is how the clustering will happen here. Okay, so this is up to 1.5. Fine, this is all single link. So this is no different from the earlier clustering algorithm we have discussed intuitively, element based clustering. Okay, so in this case it is not different. Let us see another examples later. Okay, now let us start the complete link algorithm. Okay, if you people wish, you can redraw that, but otherwise complete link algorithm, farthest neighbor algorithm. Okay, so now let us start. So assume that, sorry, I will sketch now x1, x2, x3 slightly closely. x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6. Please note that now I need not maintain the distance. This distance is only for samples. Here all are equidistant. Okay, I am just putting the samples which to cluster. This is a dendrogram. Okay,
But,
now
in which case did we define D average for?
yeah, D average is not used either in single link or complete link algorithms. So if you prefer to use D average, you can do it. Only thing is, see for example, when the noise is very high, both the algorithms fail, both the single link and complete link. Because what will happen if the noise in samples are very high, there is spurious sample which may come very close to other cluster. There is spurious sample which may come very farther to other cluster. And if you just base your clustering based on nearest neighbor or farthest neighbor, that is only single element, then you fail to do better clustering. So in such case, either mean based clustering or average based clustering, people do it. Okay, in such case, that is preferred. But if these samples are reliable, then either single link nearest neighbor clustering or farthest neighbor clustering are better.
Sir, how is that average different from mean?
Yeah, how is it different? So do you think is it different or not? So for mean, I initially do average in C1 samples and C2 samples and then just find the distance here. But here what I'm doing, I'm finding the distance of each and then averaging. I'm averaging the distances here, I'm averaging the samples here. That is the difference. Fine?
Yes.
Both are not same because square is a nonlinear operation. Okay, fine. So now how should I, which one should I cluster first? So farthest neighbor, which one should I cluster first?
X1, X6.
X1, X6 should I cluster? See, farthest neighbor doesn't mean that I have to cluster the maximum distance ones. I just need to find
X6 and X7.
Yeah. Which one?
X6 and X7.
X6 and
X7.
Okay, why? See, farthest neighbor, what it says, you consider Dmax. That only it says. So in this case, say for example, Dmax. So I will write with this color now. So Dmax between, say, directly write samples here, X1 and X2 is how much? Is equal to Dmax between X1 and X2 is how much?
Same one.
One, right. And now Dmax between X1 and X7, sorry, Dmax between X6 and X7 is how much?
1.5.
1.5. Now what should I consider? So and so on I can write others. So which one should I cluster? What is the rule of clustering? Rule of clustering is, what is rule of clustering? Cluster the ones, two clusters, when the distance between them is smaller than other distances. This distance may be through Dmax or Dmin, doesn't matter for me. The distance, till I find the distance only, max or min matters. Once I find distance, I will cluster only the minimum distance ones among all these possible distances. So which one should I cluster now?
X1, X2.
Yeah, I will cluster now X1 and X2 only. Okay? Because the D max, when I find, I use the maximum distance. Okay, but after finding D max, my rule is same. Closest ones are to be merged. Okay, so clusters of closest ones. But how I define closer is through metric of maximum distance or minimum distance. That is up to me. Okay, so this is cluster now. So now next what will happen? Next is very important. What do you think will happen now? So assume that now D max I want to do between C1 and X3, sorry. How much is this? D max between C1, this is C1 now. Okay, assume that I am writing here itself. C1 and X3. How much is the D max between C1 and X3? If you want me to sketch this again, I can do it.
2.1.
Oh yeah, 2.1. 1, X2, X3, X4, X5, X6, X7. Okay, so 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Okay, so now yeah, D max this is 2.1. Correct or not? Please tell if you people are not clear. Okay, so this is 1.1. Okay, now D max of, I just want to write other D max. D max of say X3 comma X4 or X4 comma X5 I want to, sorry, X3 comma X4. How much is this? X3 comma X4 D max of
1.2.
1.2. Good. So correct. So like that I can write the others as well. X3 comma X4 1.2. Okay, I can write the others as well. So now which one should I cluster now? So if I write all D max like this, I can write D max of C1 and X7 as well. Okay, so D max of C1 and X7 will be how much? Just for clarification, can some of you tell what is D max of C1 comma X7?
7.5.
Very good. It is 7.5. So like that. So now I can write all, and now I want to cluster with minimum D max. So which one should get clustered now?
X3 and X4.
Right. So the next cluster I get will be X3 and X4. Now you see the kind of clusters it is getting formed. Here it's all elongated cluster. Single link will give elongated cluster. This complete link will give compact clusters. So one cluster here, another cluster here, another cluster here, and finally they will match. Okay, but whereas in single link it slightly try to give like this. Okay, now what do you think is the next cluster? I can write all D max and all, but what do you think is the next cluster? Some of you can guess. You can work out and tell.
X5, X6.
Very good. So the next cluster will be X5 and X6. Okay, and this is with 1.2 and this is with 1. How much?
4.
Yeah, 4. Now what will be the next cluster? Tell me. So to see the next cluster, which one should I compare?
Distance between X1, X2, X3, X4 and
C1 is this. Okay, C2 is this. I will write the cluster. C2 is this. C3 is this. Okay, given these names. So which distances do you think I should compare? D of C1 comma C2 versus what should I compare? C3 comma X7. Fine or not?
yes.
So what now each distance is D max because this is complete link. And what are the values? What are the values? C1, C2.
2.1, 2.9.
Yeah, 2 point. Is it 2 point or something else? So X1 and X4 distance will come.
3.3.
Huh?
3.3.
3.3, correct. And then the other one is X5 and X7. So it is
0.4.
huh?
2.9.
Correct. So now which one get clustered?
C3
so
and X7.
Huh? Yeah, I
C3
can
and
also write
X7.
others, but not necessary. So which one get clustered now?
C3 and X7.
Yeah, C3 and X7 gets clustered. So I am putting like this. This is with 2.9. Then what will get clustered? I
C1
have
and C2.
C1 and C2, right? This is it 3.3. Then finally, what will happen? This is the
C1 and
difference.
C3.
Yeah, these two get clustered. But how much do you think is the distance with which they get clustered?
From X1 to X7, total distance.
Yeah, that will be the distance. That is 7.5. Okay, so this is how the complete link clustering forms. Okay, or the farthest link cluster forms, farthest neighbor clusters forms. Now, if I want to break this into 3 clusters, so can you quickly tell what will be the 3 clusters in each of the case? So in this case, for example, 3 clusters I want. First of all, you can see 2 clusters. Okay, then we will see 3 clusters. 2 clusters if I want to do, these clusters. Okay, C1 is, if I break here, C1 is X1 comma X2 comma X3, and then C2 is X5. Is it clear or not? X7. Okay, similarly here, which are the 2 clusters I will get? Here, right? So here, I think it's difficult to write for me, but I think you can easily see. So X1 to X6 is one cluster and X7 is another cluster, right? So if the samples are placed like this, okay, so with this much distance, then the clustering done by this single link will be like that, and done by a complete link will be like this. Is it clear or not?
Yes.
Yeah, fine, good. So now I will give a small another example for you to verify yourself. Okay, I suggest you quickly work out in your notebooks. So if you are fortunate enough to get some notebook around you. Okay, I will write the distances also here. So these may not be to the scale, okay? Okay, the samples I have are from X8 to X11. Okay, so it's in fact in the Dudant problem, it is a continuation they have given. In fact, all together can also be clustered if I use some small distance between X7 and X8. Okay, so now let us, here it is, this graph gives the distances of with each combination. Okay, and so now what I want to do is I want to cluster X1 to X9. Sorry, X8 to X11 using single link and complete link clustering. Okay, this is the problem. So if you have notes around you, I suggest you to do it quickly so that you can answer me here easily. Okay, let us start with single link. Okay, so now which one should I cluster in single link? So given this, you can also write it, you can also write a distance matrix if you people prefer. But directly looking at it also you can do if you are comfortable. Yeah, which one should I cluster first?
X8, X9.
Yeah, x8, x9 first with distance 2. Okay, and then what? Which one should I cluster?
X11.
Huh? Yeah, x11 should I cluster? This became distance 2, so it becomes C1 now. Okay, if I explicitly want to find distance of C1 with some of the closest ones, so x8, x9, and probably if I want to find x11, I can find. Okay. And this is 2.4, right? I may be wrong. Okay. And then similarly, you do distance of C1 with what else? X10 I can do. And how much is this?
2.2.
2.2. Okay, so which one should I cluster now?
X10.
Yeah, x10 I should cluster. Okay, so x10 get clustered. With this, in fact, I have to find distance between x10 and x11 also. And that is 2.6. So I will cluster this with 2.2. I need not, I think, write this much. Okay, next is what? This is now whole together is C1 now. X10 has to be clustered with this, right? So with how much distance will it get clustered now?
2.4.
2.4.
Yeah, 2.4, because these are all clustered now. X11, if I see nearest neighbor is 2.4, correct. Okay, fine, good. So this is nearest neighbor clustering. Okay, again it has gone like this. Now complete link. Okay, our farthest neighbor clustering. Yeah. Can you quickly tell now what will be the first clusters? Okay. What is first cluster?
X8, X9.
X8, X9 only. Okay. X8, X9. Okay. Then second cluster. Second cluster, this is C1, right? So distance of C1 comma, I have to see, say X10. Okay. Distance of
X10.
Yeah, fine. C1 comma X11, distance of X10 comma X11, all are D max. Okay, max distances. I can write this, and after that, which one will get clustered? Can you tell?
X10 and X11.
X10 and X11 gets clustered, correct. With how much distance?
2.6.
2.6. Okay. Then what? These two anyway clusters, C1, C2 need to get clustered with how much distance? How much distance do you think? Farthest neighbor.
5.
Yeah, they are with 5. So this is X8, X9, and then this is X10, X11. So now the farthest neighbor distance is 5, right? Okay, fine. So this is how the clustering happens. Okay, so now is this clear or not?
Yes.
Yeah, I will ask now slightly different kind of questions. Okay, so now let us have the distance matrix. From that, we will apply this farthest neighbor clustering and nearest neighbor clustering. Okay, so previously, as we discussed, these are all graphs we have given now. So instead of that, if I give a distance, say distance dissimilarity measure matrix. Okay, so if I'm directly get the dissimilarity matrix, from where do I get this dissimilarity matrix? From where do I get this dissimilarity matrix? No answer?
Using the dissimilarity metric.
Yeah, that is fine. From on what?
distance between the samples.
Yeah. So taking the samples and dissimilarity metric on the samples, I will get this dissimilarity matrix. Okay. So even if I give an exam, the only samples, you will be able to find this. Okay. And then do complete link or a single link clustering. Yes or no?
Yes.
If I define what is the dissimilarity matrix or similarity matrix, you will be able to do that. By default, probably you can assume distance by Euclidean distance. Okay, and then samples are x1, x2, x3. You need not write all the time like this, but for better understanding, I am writing this. Okay, so now can you form single link clusters and complete link clusters based on this? Do you wish to do quickly in your notes and then you will verify? Single link cluster. Okay. So which one should I cluster first?
X1, X2.
Yeah, X1, X2. 1.2. Then which one should I cluster next? Which one next should I cluster? See, this is already cluster 1 I have formed now. So now I want to find distance between cluster 1 and C3, minimum D min all the time, cluster 1 and C4, cluster 1 and C5. Among all these things, I want to again find minimum. Okay, minimum of minimum will come in D min. In D max, minimum of maximum distances between clusters will get. Okay, min max is there, min is here. Okay, in some sense. Okay, so which one is, say C1 with X3, how much is the distance? C1 with X3.
2.5. 2.5.
Yes, right. 2.5. Good. And then C1 with X4.
3.2.
3.2. Yeah, 3.2. Okay. X4 is what actually? Yeah, right. And then C1 with X5.
3.9.
Correct. So now if I want to match between X1, X3 and X4.
X3.
So which one should I match now? Next through single link.
X3 with C1. X3.
Okay, but should I merge not necessarily with C1? Is there a rule that I should merge with C1 only?
Sir, X3 and X4 are also.
Yeah, X3 and X4 have distance 1.8 only, even lesser. Then, is there any better cluster?
X4 and X.
Yeah?
X4 and X5.
Right. So this is also sets. So our clusters. So X4 and X5 has a distance of 1.5. So which one should I merge now among all these things?
X4 and X5.
X4 and X5. Okay, with 1.5. Okay, what is the next? Okay, not necessary that all the time single link will give only like this. Okay, but it is the more probability that it gives elongated clusters. But within that, for example, if already they are distinct, then it may give locally elongated clusters. Okay, and then merge them. Yeah, what is the next? X3 should be merged with someone. X3 and X4, if you want to, which one will get next merge? Can you guess?
X3 and X4.
Yeah, X3 and X4 I can't match. This is already C2. So X3 and C2.
X3 and C2.
With a distance of 1.8. Okay, then these two anyway gets matched. With what distance? X3, X4, X5 should get merged with X1, X2. What distance?
2.5.
Yeah, good. So if you can see actually the final one, this one is corresponding to, okay, this one is corresponding to this in the set. Okay, so this is 2.5. Okay, I hope you understood. Now form the complete link clusters. X1, X2, X3, X4 and X5. Yeah, can you please tell now? Which one should I merge first?
X1, X2.
Yeah, element wise when I do, first thing will be exactly same. Because all are D min, D max, every metric gives same. Okay, D average, D mean, everything is same. For a single element, sets, all elements are single element, all sets are single element set, then it is same. Okay, then this is the cluster one I have formed now. What is the next cluster? So now if I find the D max, okay, which one will come?
X4 and X5.
Very good. Again, X4 and X5 will come. Okay, I will make the X4 and X5. What next will come? This distance of 1.5. What next? So X3 has to be measured with whom now? Sorry, this is set 1. This is cluster 1 and this is cluster 2. So X3 has to be measured with which cluster? So what I suggest is that you do
P1.
with
Cluster 1.
yeah, very
Cluster
good.
1.
P1.
Cluster 1, correct. But what I suggest is while doing an exam, don't just draw the dendrogram and leave it. In fact, some students I used to see that just they write the dendrogram even without the lens. Okay, without lens, if you write, it makes not much meaning for me. Okay, first you should write with lens. That alone is also not all the time sufficient. I suggest at least you write few things here because I should also know that you have understood, right? So you write D max, at least 1 or 2 things you write. Okay, C1 to X3 is how much? Okay, D max C2 to X3 is how much? Okay, and then D max C1 to C2 is how much? Okay, these are the possible combinations here. Since there are 3 clusters. Okay, so in these things, whichever is closer to that, I will match. Okay, so minimum of this. So here it is C1 to X3 is how much? C1 to X3. How much? With how much distance should I? It is? Yeah, D max, right? So 3, correct. What is D max of C2 to X3? C2 to X3. Huh? It is?
2.
Huh? Not able to hear. X3 to
2.
C2. Oh, it is? Not able to hear from you. Huh?
2.
It's not 2. Why it is 2? It is 4.2, right? It is 4.2, right? Right? C1, C2, D max. How much? C1 and C2.
4.2.
Yeah, it is 4.2. Oh, this is 4.2, C1, C2. Then X3 to C2, I have written wrong.
Yes, sir.
X3 to C2, right? So X3 to C2. Oh, fine. You are correct. It is 2. Good. Okay, X3 to C2 is 2 only, right? So it's fine. Okay. So now with which should I merge now? So among all these things, which I should consider?
With C2, sir, it should.
Yeah, it is minimum. Okay, minimum among these things should be the correct cluster. Okay. So it is C2 and X3. This becomes the new C2 now. Okay. So now this is, I have to match here. Correct or not? Yeah, this is with now, but with 2. Okay. Here it is 1.8. This here it is 2. Okay, please note that difference. Okay, and then these two anyway have to be matched. But with what distance will they get matched? C1 and C2 I have to match. With what distance they will get matched now? Can one of you tell, completing the discussion?
2.5.
2.5.
2.5. D max have to see.
4.2.
Yeah, it is 4.2. Good. Okay, it is 4.2. Fine or not? Oh, because D max I have to see. Okay. So now this again, this is same as this. Okay, this is same as this. What I have looked at. Maximum here, here minimum here. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, so now you see the clusters in this single link and complete link are exactly same in this case. However, the distance with which we clustered are different. Okay. Now, but however, if we break anywhere, the clusters are same. So it is not necessarily that all the time you should get different clusters from single link and complete link. Okay, sometimes if you may get same clusters also. Is it fine or not? So with this, the discussion on hierarchical clustering also ends. So what we have discussed is agglomerative clustering. That means initially if you have all clusters, all samples individually placed in single sets or single clusters. So if I have 100 samples, 100 clusters as if I start from, and try to bring in 100 clusters to 99 clusters, 98 clusters, or 80 clusters, 20 clusters, and finally to one cluster, so that I can break at any level. That's the approach we are forming now. Okay, in agglomerative clustering. The other clustering is divisive clustering. So you understand? Do you by name can you make out what is divisive clustering? By this name, can you make out what do you think is the divisive clustering? So if I have some samples like this, give some inputs. If you tell something, I can tell few more things. No idea on what is divisive clustering? Agglomerative means add. Okay, keep on adding to the cluster members and finally form single cluster altogether. Divisive clustering means? It's surprising.
Divide.
Yeah, you divide. From where?
Take all points.
Take all of them in a single cluster. Yeah, now start dividing. So if you want to do now, I make this as 2 clusters. Okay, I can do this as 2 clusters. After that, what I can do? I can do, okay, these as different clusters. Okay, then what I may do? I may do these as next clusters. So I will have here. So if you want me to put different color, so these as different clusters. So finally, I may have here. So I start with, say for example, C1, okay, C2, all this, okay, C3, C4. Okay, I get like this clusters. This is divisive clustering. Whereas in agglomerative clustering, each will start as an individual ones, and I will gradually group these things as one cluster. Then individually group these as one cluster. Okay, and then individually group these as one cluster, those as one cluster, and finally group all these as single cluster. I hope you are able to visualize, right? So what's happening in agglomerative and divisive clusterings? In agglomerative clustering, these 4
This is done for each sample, right?
What is that?
Even this is done for each sample, right?
No, it is done for each sample, but we start from, this is like top to, this is, if you consider this as bottom to top approach, this is a top to bottom approach. Okay, so I put all of them. For example, if I want to put you people into 2 sections, okay, in divisive clustering, what I will do is I will initially put all of you in one class. Okay, I say that because of some reason the class is strength is not satisfied here. You can't sit all together. So then you say that some people go there, some people go here. Okay, then I say that after there still there is some imbalance or some problem. Okay, I will again move you to 4 classes. So I will finally put you in 4 clusters. That is divisive clustering. Agglomerative clustering means initially I say that you be in your room, hostel rooms. Okay, each will be in your individual rooms. Okay, I will call based on my interest or similarity or something. Okay, I will call say some people, 10 people to come and sit in one room. Okay, another 10 to sit in one room, another 10 to sit in another room. 10 rooms I may ask you to sit. Later I will make these 10 to 4 rooms. Okay, that is agglomerative clustering. Fine?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So in agglomerative clustering, the links will happen like this. Okay, then finally like this. Okay, something like this. Whereas in diffusion clustering, we start initially like this and then bring it. Okay. Okay. So now this, if I want to do this diffusive clustering, what do you think is the measure I can take? Say, for example, assume that all samples are initially clustered into same category. Then I want to divide into 2 categories. So I should use some statistics of the samples. Okay, which statistics do you suggest me I can use for doing this diffusive clustering? Anybody has class next? Anyway, I think in another 5-10 minutes we will be able to wind up our discussion. Fine. Okay. So how do I divide this divisive? How do I divide? Say, for example, initially I have all in single cluster, right? So if I want to divide into 2 clusters, what do you think is the basis for me to divide into 2 clusters?
Remove one.
I say that the variance of this all samples put together is very high. Okay, so if I calculate the variance of all samples, assume that the variance sigma initially is say 100. Okay, so or say 1000. It is very high. And I want to break this into 2 categories because the variance is high. Then if I want to break into 2 categories, what should I do now? Now what I do is I may apply some criteria. I may take a seed point. Okay, I may take 2 seed points. Okay, and then find all closest ones to one cluster, all closest one to another cluster. Okay, it's like roughly applying k-means with 2 clusters to bring into 2 clusters. Okay, so if I want to bring C equal to 2, now I set clusters equal to number of clusters equal to 2. Okay, and apply k-means. Okay, and get 2 clusters. Okay, this is what I got. Okay, so after applying k-means or something, I have got 2. Now I will do a stop here or not. I will decide again by looking at the variances. Okay, there are 2 things I can use now to decide whether I need to go further or stop here. One thing is to look at the variance again. Say now let it be say within this cluster the variance may still be say 500. Okay, or 560. Okay, still I say it is high. Okay, which is high I will decide. Okay, and then I say it is high. If it is high, that is one criteria, and the other criteria is distance between means. Okay, this is also another criteria. Distance between means is high. Okay, is equal to say probably some 100 units. It is high, I say. Okay, so these are the 2 criteria I can use. Fine. Initially, I can use the farthest points and say that these are 2 distinct. So I want to reduce them into closer clusters. Okay, that also I can keep. This clustering here is intuitively done because you don't have any ground to say that these are same class, these are not same class, etc. Okay. So now what do I do now? I want to still break into another cluster. So now I define number of clusters equal to 3. But I need not do that. What I will do is I will define number of clusters equal to 2, but I will do where only within the clusters where the variance is high. So here please note that sigma 1 is within the cluster is 30 and sigma 2 is 560. What is sigma 1? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, are you able to see the screen now?
No, sir.
Still not yet.
Oh, fine, good.
Sure.
Now you are able to see? You are able to see or not?
Not yet.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is it? Okay, this one.
Double click.
Yeah, let me see. Now?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. So now, were you there in the discussion? So is the thing clear what I'm trying to say now? So I will see after the first division to two clusters, I will see their variances. Whichever variance is still higher, that only I will break into further. Okay. So now this one is variance is small. So I need not break anymore. But this variance is still high. So I will break. Okay. So I will divide into two more clusters. So how do I define now? So for example, I want to divide like this. Is the thing clear what I'm trying to tell now? Okay, and now this is again, okay, this is now M1 comma sigma 1 and this is M2 comma sigma 2. Okay, now variances are, say for example, what I do? So sigma 1 here is equal to 80. Okay, sigma 2 is equal to, say for example, again 40. Okay, and M1, M2 or something. Then I may decide whether it is good enough for me or not. If it is good enough, I will stop here. Is it fine or not? I just want to hear from you, one of you.
Yes, sir. But when will we decide, like, how many clusters should be there finally? I mean,
Yeah.
where to stop?
So we will not decide number of clusters a priori, and we will not have any importance on sticking to 3 clusters, 5 clusters, etc. We will only decide how much is the minimum variance of the cluster. So that means if I have a cluster, the cluster all members should be spread only to this extent. I will decide only that. I say that the variance should be less than 50. Okay, that only I will decide. Based on that is my stopping criteria. Till then I will keep go on. While doing this, I may have only one element left in another cluster. Say for example, if I now divide into another, say for example, another another step, if I go, I make it only like this. Only 2 members may be there in other cluster. It doesn't matter for me. Okay. So I will go till I would like to have the variance that minimum. Okay. So in fact, if I do this for a spurious case where there is one sample here. Okay. Assume that one sample here. Okay. Then what will happen? Finally, this also will come as one cluster. Doesn't matter for me. So if there are 2 spurious samples, these 2 full spurious samples may come as 2 different clusters. So it doesn't matter for me. Okay. Is this understood?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
So now this is divisive algorithms. And there is as I said, there is an algorithm called isodata clustering. What is this isodata clustering is? Say initially I have some samples. I will apply k-means clustering. Say initially, say for example, I have some samples. Apply k-means. Say with 5 clusters equal to 5. See, the question in isodata is, I a priori know some idea about how many number of clusters I want to get, but I don't have full idea. If the clusters are not good enough, I want to change. I want to evolve with myself to get the optimal number of clusters by doing division in between or agglomeration in between. Okay, so I should have a provision for combining the clusters or merging the clusters. I should also have a provision for splitting the clusters. Okay, so and I will start with some rough guess of the initial clusters. That is isodata clustering. Okay, so the first step is to start with initial clusters, and then what I do? So first split clusters if variance is high. Okay, how much high? Than threshold. Okay, or distance between means? Between, say between points, sample points in cluster is high. Okay, in that case also I may split. Okay, these are the two conditions under which I may split. But my aim is not just to split, but also to merge similar ones. Okay, because initially when I do, two clusters may be quite close, but they may be done through k-means clustering indifferently. So I want to merge. So what is the criteria for merging? What do you think is criteria for merging? Some of you tell. Can you tell? Merge clusters. If what? Can some of you tell what may be the criteria for merging?
If distance between the clusters is
if distance between cluster means
of
is
less than
some threshold. Okay. Okay, I have written like this, or distance between means is smaller, or that's all. Okay, so and then do I stop here? I again repeat. Okay, 2 and 3 till convergence. Okay, so this is referred to as isodata clustering. Okay, while doing splitting and merging, merging I can merge easily, but while doing splitting I may use again in between k-means clustering also if I wish. Okay, are the things clear here or not? And the criteria for merging and splitting can be different in different applications. Somebody want to look at Mohalla based distance and then say based on that I may want to split. Okay, or I may want to wedge. Okay, like that. So distance not necessarily be like this. So in case within class distance, scatter distance we have defined in Fisher linear discriminant, right? That also you can use here to find the between class scatter. You can use to decide whether I should like to split or merge or not. Okay. Is the discussion clear?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So I hope it is clear for all. Otherwise, you can ask me now. Yeah. So now fine. If this is clear, then it is good. So with this, we will wind up our discussion on machine learning for image processing course. And if you have any other doubts, you can talk to me now. So it's any other matters, not necessarily on the current discussion. So it's all fine.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So I will close the class now. So all the best. So let us see you probably in July 15th. So meanwhile, what we will do is for mini projects. So I have shared yesterday again the same link where you have mentioned your topics, right? So I suggest you to each of you to record your own video presentations through your slides and all, and put the link there so that I can see all your presentations at one place and then go through them. Okay. So after you do that and I go through also, so hopefully we can keep your presentations. So we'll have a discussion session. So I will probably discuss probably 5 minutes just to have any clarifications or any questions. Each of you I will discuss with each of you for 5 minutes. Okay. So on one day we can put that. So which day do you think is more convenient to wind up the discussion on mini projects as well? So May 8th, I think already some things are there, right? So we thought previously as May 10th, I hope, right? But I think May 10th is Sunday. So May 6th or 7th? May 6th, is it fine for all? I want to hear from you, otherwise I will fix myself. So why unnecessarily taking this or talking to you and fixing? So you should tell your views.
So can we have it somewhere after around 10th May, like 10th or
Okay.
after
So
10th?
11th May we can keep
11th.
otherwise.
Yes, 11th.
So if it is fine, 11th or 12th May.
Yes.
So what is the
A discussion is, say, for example, after I go through your video lecture, I may have some questions, right? So I may have some, I may myself may have some questions to ask you, or I may want to give some inputs. So for example, if something is not discussed in that paper, or if that is not clear, so any such things. Even if I have some doubt on what you have done, okay, I will be able to discuss. That is 5 minutes to maximum 10 minutes it will take. I don't think even more than 5 minutes. So we had done it for MTech students for image processing lab. So and it took roughly 1 hour, I think. So for 9 people. So for 40 people, it may take say 4 hours. So that's the tentative time. So we will be able to finish starting probably from say morning 10 o'clock itself. We will start our 10 to 1 we can make one session, and then again 2 to 5 we will make another session. So we'll finish it off all. So just I think I will note a prior itself what I want to ask. So I will just ask them and we will wind it up. Just to have interaction with you on what you have done. Okay. So 11th fine, otherwise 11th we will fix. So 10th anyway is the Sunday. So 11th, May 11th. Is it fine for all or not? Yeah, tell actually I am not hearing.
Yes, sir.
So a few more, yeah, so I think I see one more raising hand. Okay, fine, thanks then. So we will fix it on May 11th. So do good work. So since you have a little more time, and if you have any questions in between also you can ask. So prepare yourself now well. So since all the material is with you. So what I'm thinking is after you come back, so I will see meanwhile what are all these so far you have submitted, the programming assignments, written assignments, all those things. I will see if they are sufficient enough for me along with quiz 1 to grade reasonably, just taking the final exam. If I feel that still I need some kind of evaluation on you, so I may do it even in July itself to keep a class test in addition to the final quiz. So we'll see that. We'll see meanwhile actually how exactly we will take up. So hopefully final exam should be good enough. If you reasonably programming assignments and other things, if they are sufficient enough. Okay. So fine then all the best. So bye then if you have no more questions. Okay. Thank you then. Bye.